Hello and welcome to this webinar by NextGEOSS. We are going to introduce to you the next generation data hub, a CKAN-based data hub. Today you will get the monthly updates. If you haven't been here before, you will also get a first peek, a first introduction. And for those of you who have attended this before, you will get some updates. My name is Bente Lilja. I'm one of the partners of NextGEOSS. I'm from Norway and have been working with Earth observations for more than a decade. And with me, I have Wolfgang Zoll from Viderum. Wolfgang, can you say a few words about yourself?
Yes, I'm Wolfgang Zoll. I'm project manager for NextGEOSS here at Viderum. Viderum is a daughter of the Open Knowledge Foundation, and our focus is on open data. My knowledge of Earth observation is restricted to the parts of the Earth below the surface. I'm a miner from birth, and today we will have a short. May I give the introduction to the film, or would you?
We can first tell people what we are going to spend the next 30 minutes on. So first, actually, we would like to give a very short report from our activities, the NextGEOSS project activities in Washington, D.C. during the GEO plenary week. That was at the end of October. Very short. I have collected some live broadcast for you there that you can take a look at. And then we will have a short introduction to the video that will show you, demonstrate the NextGEOSS CKAN-based data hub. Then Wolfgang also will tell us more about what's in the planning for the next few months, and then we will open up for questions. So if you see on the side of your screen, you will be able to see a chat where you can ask questions. So if you have questions, please do write them in the chat so we can pick them up and try our best to answer them after the video is ended. So I think by that I will tell you a little bit about Washington, D.C. So we had several demonstrations during the GEO week. So GEO, if you are unfamiliar with this acronym, is the Group of Earth Observations. And the Group of Earth Observation is building the Global Earth Observing System of Systems. And NextGEOSS is the European GEOSS, so to speak. It's the data hub for the European users and for European stakeholders. Now, in Washington, we had several demonstrations, and we also did a few interviews with people from the community. And all these interviews, they were live broadcast, but we created a so-called moment on Twitter. And if you look in the chat, I have written the link to this. If you don't find it here, you can go to our Twitter account, NextGEOSS, at NextGEOSS, and you will see there's a way of finding moments. And there's a moment called the GEO Week 2017, and that's where you can find our presentations or our interviews during that week. Now, Wolfgang, I will let you introduce the next version of the introductory video, actually, of the NextGEOSS Data Hub.
Yeah, thank you. I would like to say something more. You should also have a look on YouTube for NextGEOSS, and maybe you could be interested for the open data part. There's a Facebook news group, Open Data, where we discuss and post also some information, and you will find only the brilliant films from Bente. So in the next film, we will get an overview of what is meant by a data hub, which we are building with the open source software CKAN. And you will get 3 examples which might give you an impression what this means. We will see the search with filters. We will have an example with KML find us data from the US. And you will see how you can find particular information about Sentinel satellite data. So this is already in the first alpha release inside, and then you will see also a user feedback which you can give to every data set which is stored in our CKAN and also in the external application Nimbus, and we will see it in the film. And then you will see also an overview again, and then when the film is over, we can discuss what's upcoming next in December, for example. Bente, it's up to you.
Okay. We have recorded the video, and this video is a little bit over 8 minutes long. And in the beginning of this video, you will get an introduction, and then to subjects also. I don't think you mentioned that, Wolfgang, but there is sort of a general introduction. So if you lack that from us now, you will get it in the video. So here we go.
Hello, and welcome to this introduction to the Data Hub of NextGEOSS, part of the EU programme Horizon 2020. NextGEOSS brings together data from the Earth observation community in one place. The data available in the portal promotes innovation and opens new possibilities for both research and business. The users of the site are not only scientists, but also citizens, entrepreneurs, and people within government. The Data Hub portal has been built by Vidirum using CKAN, the open source application originally built by the Open Knowledge Foundation, now Open Knowledge International. Additional features and functionality are going to be added to this alpha release in the coming months, and more datasets will be available from an increasing number of sources. You can download a detailed project description from the Project and Approach section of the NextGEOSS website. First, let's take a look at the flow of the data from its source through to the consumer of that data. The Earth observation community in the EU has a lot of data sources, including satellites in the Copernicus program and the Sentinel missions. Eventually, millions of datasets will be harvested and pulled directly into the Data Hub, where they'll be searchable and accessible. Several metadata standards are in use which describe the semantic content of the data. Some come from the public services, like for example DCAN, which is defined by the EU, whereas others are standards used within the geo community. An internal search engine means that the metadata can be used to find specific datasets. The standard CKAN search facilities are due to be improved on as part of the Data Hub's expansion. The Data Hub can be accessed by any browser, but the geo community has also developed several standalone programs which can make use of the Data Hub through an API. How the Data Hub is accessed depends entirely on who the user is. Let's talk through an example from the world of agriculture to illustrate the potential value of the portal. A farmer who wants to make the most of their crop in any given year has a lot to learn from, for example, rainfall data. With the data presented in an accessible form, they can assess risk and also make provisions for additional watering and things like that. A farmer can also glean a great deal of information about how crops are performing through studying aerial photographs. Data from the Data Hub can become an essential tool in helping the farmer to understand the many complex factors affecting their crops. The Data Hub aggregates a lot of available data from the whole complex ecosystem surrounding agriculture, and will benefit and provide opportunities for many players in that game, including consultants, insurers, farm machinery manufacturers, and countless others, as well as the farmers themselves. NextGEOSS has identified several other ecosystems which lend themselves well to the type of benefits offered by access to data through the Data Hub, both in terms of research and business. Use cases are being developed in parallel with the technical solutions to ensure the largest possible benefit to citizens businesses, government, and researchers. Now, let's have a little look at the actual data hub. In the information section, you can get detailed descriptions on how to use the data hub, find out some of its use cases, or make use of the available APIs in your own development work. If we select datasets on the top, we'll come through to the datasets page and we'll see filters here on the left-hand side. There are filters for providers, topics, tags, and formats, etc. This helps us navigate through the datasets. First, we'll take a look at the search functionality. Let's, for example, look for KML. That's an abbreviation for Keyhole Markup Language, which was introduced from Google Earth to combine data with locations. The search results immediately show you all of the KML data that's been harvested and is available for further analysis. Providers show you where the data comes from. Tags are created from the used metadata, which are associated with the resources, by which we mean the raw data. Formats show the technical format for the dataset. As an example, let's look at one of these datasets. Let's choose this one. So once we click through, we can find some more information about the data, and we can directly download the file. We can also share the dataset, or the link to the dataset, on social media, on Google+, on Twitter, or on Facebook. Now, if we were to click the download button here, if you've got it configured on your computer, Google Earth will automatically start up. So this is the easiest way to have a look at the data. In this case, we can find data of the fine dust pollution all over the US. To show one more example of how to access a dataset, we're going to search by going to Provider. We're going to click on Sentinel. And then all of the data that's available from this organization pops up. So if we click on one of these, here you can download the data, and you'll also find more detailed metadata about this satellite data. So, what's coming next? Well, in December 2017, a beta version is going to be released, and this is going to include significant improvements for search and user feedback. An open search interface will be integrated into the data so that individual programs can access it. In the Data Hub, you're going to be able to add comments to every dataset that's available. The Nimbus user feedback program is integrated using the Open API. It means that if you make a comment on a specific dataset within the Data Hub, your comment is sent to Nimbus, and the answer will be integrated into CKAN. Thanks for joining me for this overview of the Data Hub. For additional information, look on the NextGEOSS news page, where you're going to find details of events and future webinars just like this one.
Okay.
Okay.
Hello, I hope you enjoyed that video, and just to make sure that you are able to ask questions, maybe you can say hi in the chat and tell us where you're from, so we can see that this is actually working. If it's not working, we need to fix this for the next webinar. But if you could do us a favor and just write hi or say where you're watching from, that would be highly appreciated. While you are doing that, I think that we can start with Wolfgang telling us about the plans for the update of the NextGEOSS Data Hub. I will take a look at the chat box and see if you managed to say hi. And again, we really encourage you to ask questions. Any type of question is welcome. So, but Wolfgang, why don't you tell us about the plans for the future?
Yes, I will show the well-known picture to have a better overview of what I'm telling now. We are in progress to make a migration to another cloud, and this migration from 2 instances of CKAN will be ready end of this week. And if you want to take a look on the staging engine or on the production alpha, then it would be good that you send me an email at zoll@widerum.com so that we can provide you a password to have access. We will have here in the CKAN Data Hub something new, what was not mentioned. We will have an open search interface so that you can access CKAN Data Hub with a program which uses open search technology. What we will have in the next weeks until the pilot goes to beta on the beginning of December, we will have here some pilots which are about themes like agriculture, smart cities, biodiversity, and these pilots will get an own page on our CKAN Data Hub, so that you can retrieve data from these pilots, but you will see also links to the pilots, but if there are special kind of software or special kind of information, and we will link you to the home pages of the pilots. So this is coming up here on the right side in the next week. You will find it firstly under topics, and then there will pages for every pilot. Then we are going here, if the migration has finished, we will look here what have we for sources. The DLR is working on a catalog of verified sources, and then our Portuguesian friends will make connectors and have some are ready and must be implemented, where the harvesting can start so that the metadata get into the CKAN engine. And this will be for the project team some weeks where we get a little bit nervous, but we are always full of hope, and will publish the beta on the 4th or 5th of December. That's from my side in short.
Yes, Wolfgang, can you share your video again so we get back to back from screen share?
Okay. Wait a second. I've just built
so hold on, there's a lag here. So
yeah. So yeah. One
yes.
more button.
Yes. So thank you, everybody. I see you have been saying hi in the chat. Thank you so much, Thierry, Amit, and Grégoire. Very nice to see you here. Wolfgang mentioned all these pilots and the focus that we will have of different thematic pilots. And I will again encourage you to watch the live broadcast that we recorded from the Geo Week. And the focus was then on a couple of pilots. We made an interview related to the energy pilot, where we met with a representative from NASA. So that's very interesting to see how the US approach and the European approach is actually something we want to cooperate on. So that's interesting to hear about. And then we also made some interviews, several interviews with experts related to food security and agricultural monitoring. So we talked with the FAO, so the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations. We talked to EASA, and we talked to GEOGLAM. So GEOGLAM is a flagship in GEO. So please go ahead and check that out. I will paste or the link to that Twitter Moments again, where you have the whole list of these interviews that you can consume whenever you feel you have time for it. Yes, so the plans, so Wolfgang told you about the plans, the development plans for the data hub, and the next webinar of this kind will take place on the 4th of December, so just before Christmas, where you will actually hear then what has happened the next month or during that last month. We are having these webinars on a monthly basis, so it will be serving both and as an introduction for those of you who are unfamiliar with the NextGEOSS Data Hub, but it will also be interesting for you who are interested to see how the development goes. And so there will be news. So it will be a mix of old and new in these monthly webinars. So you can follow really very closely what happens. And the reason why we are doing this is that we really want to have your input so that we can make the Data Hub to fit for your purposes. So it's really an open invite, and we mean it. That's why we have this regularly each month. And yes, and if I don't see any questions right now. If you can think of something when you look at the replay, please do not hesitate to write the question in the comments, either if you're watching it on YouTube, if you are accessing it via our webpage, nextgeoss.eu, where we will post also the replay, and or in any other social media channel. Do please ask us questions. We are so interested in hearing from you. We are also planning to have some surveys where we ask you what you want these webinars to contain. So we will address questions that you are interested in the best we can. So I think that was it from me. Wolfgang, do you have any other additional information or things comments you want to share with us?
Not really, but I want to give the hint that it is always a good thing to follow NextGEOSS on Twitter, because you get the most recent hints from Bente there, and I have watched the whole Washington session on Twitter, so that I was just in time. And I've seen Amit is still following us, or just following us, and I think it's a good thing to follow NextGEOSS on Twitter. So you are always active.
Yes,
that's for me. Yeah.
Yeah. No. So I really @NextGEOSS, very simple address on Twitter, and of course you saw it also in the chat box here. And we are also going to speed up or to fill our webpage, the nextgeoss.eu, with more information as we proceed in the project. We have also a Facebook page. Just search for NextGEOSS there and you will find us. And we also have information posted there whenever we have an event. For instance, when we go to different meetings and conferences, we try to create an event on Facebook as well. So if that's it, I think we call it a day for this time. And we hope to see you again next month, the 4th of November at 2 o'clock Central European Time. So bye-bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.